When you're buying a property or when you're trying to acquire a property, you essentially use either some equity in the property to help coordinate your finance. I've seen people do this where they fund the whole deal with vendor finance. Most of the vendor finance deals that are structured is where the individual doesn't have the time, energy, or expertise to do what you're doing. Otherwise, they'd have probably done it themselves. So my top tip is just try and keep it as simple as you can. So how does it work? So typically, we actually did vendor finance on this project that you can see on the screen, which is our Colney Hatch Lane. Well, still have, because we're selling in the market space at this moment in time. Just to give you an overview of what vendor finance is, a vendor is someone that owns something. Essentially, when you're buying a property or when you're trying to acquire a property, you essentially use either some equity in the property to help coordinate your finance. So let's say this particular building, we bought with a development lender because we had planning in place. We also had an investor, and then we had a small slice of vendor finance in that deal as well. So that was where the vendor basically took a net figure off the sales. So technically, we actually bought this building for 2.35 million. The vendor actually lent us 350 back on the same site. So we actually only proceeded with an acquisition of 2 million. What that enables us to do is buy it for cash on cash cost cheaper. It goes through the books, it goes through the acquisition, land registry and all of that sort of stuff at 2.35, but he's technically lent back the capital that he would have gained if he would have just sold it at the full price. The benefit of this is I've seen people do this where they fund the whole deal with vendor finance, and it kind of gets the asset off their books so that they can add value and do what they need to do. It also makes cash flow a little bit easier because there's a buffer in there that's after the bank lending to allow a buffer. For us, it enables us to de-risk the project a little bit. The cost of that vendor finance for us, he's walked away with 2 million quid on a sale, this particular seller, plus he's got an interest in the site. One of the reasons he wanted an interest in the site was he was potentially interested in maybe taking one of the flats at the tail end, which we would have sold to him at market value and kind of offset that gain. The huge benefits to us is that capital cost that we brought that vendor finance in at was actually cheaper than what we'd be paying the bank. It's also a great opportunity to, find an investor with the asset that you're buying. If you're selling, this particular vendor selling a 2.35 million pound asset, do they really need 2.35 million to go and spend somewhere? Or would they be interested in accruing a return on a site that they know that they obviously have to have an element of trust with the people in delivery. So that's the benefit of them. They do get a chunk of change, but also a return on the capital that's left in once you get the site complete and successfully completed. So how does it work? So typically, most of the vendor finance deals that are structured is where the individual doesn't have the time, energy, or expertise to do what you're doing. Otherwise, they'd have probably done it themselves. So my top tip is just simple, simple, simple. Try and keep it as simple as you can. That not only helps with agreeing that structure, but it also helps when you come into bank lending, because banks kind of a little bit break when you go, right, so we're buying this site, it's 2.35 million, we're getting bank debt, they're taking first charge, investors coming in on second charge, and then we also have some vendor finance. Not all bank lenders would do it. So before you get too excited, I would recommend that if you are getting bank lending, or even you start a bank lending process or negotiating some vendor finance, you make sure that you've got the financial package that agrees with the other creditors in the capital stack. I would also obviously recommend that you sort of preempt that particular vendor, that there will be a deed of priority and also a security priority, and that's got to be discussed. But the easiest way to do it is talk about essentially they're lending money back into the project for a proposed return, and you can then go through what rate you can expect to pay them, the duration of the project, the security that you can offer them, the reporting structure and the repayment structure. Once it's all agreed in legals and you get all of that dialed down and you get the site bought, it's then obviously binding. So you can then almost just go through the project doing what you need to do and fall through the position of how the capital stack works. So you might want to put them with some form of restriction on the site. It might be a third charge. If you haven't got a second charge lender coming in, you might want to offer them a second charge. We're pretty flexible when we do these. There's only one charge per party, but if there's something available where they could have more security, we typically offer that anyway. And that's exactly what we did with this site. And one of the main benefits that I like about the sort of vendor finance gig is if you do a good job, they may be a future investor in other projects that aren't the site that you were buying off them and other projects that are completely standalone. So bear that in mind when you're working through the process and the project with them.
Thanks once again for watching our video.
We hope you found it useful. If we could ask you for one thing, please do subscribe. It does help us. And check out our channel because there's tons of videos on there with lots of value, which we give away for free. Thanks for watching.